everybody, we cannot not do it. Every week something new. And that's what life is all about. But make the right improvements in the right places and not reinventing the wheel. That's important. The incremental improvements. And that's what we teach to our members too when it comes to building productivity system. Get the foundation right and build upon your foundations. And now today we want to talk about, well, the tools that you guys use. We decided we will make a bit of a change of the podcast for those who are just listening to the podcast recording. We are sharing our screen now here, but you should still be able to follow even just with audio. So this morning, Paco and I, we checked out the My ICOR app, the application that we have for our members, and that we have just recognized that 107 members already laid out their tool stacks inside the My ICOR application. So if you haven't done it yet, go there and do it. So here you see, for example, the one that I have, and yeah, you see Tana there, but this is actually testing. So this is the tool stack. And that's what you can do there. And by simply laying out your tools on the ICOR framework, which defines a productivity system end to end by personal knowledge management, personal task management, business knowledge management, and business project management, you have a comprehensive, holistic view on your tool stack. And therefore, this is the foundation that you can build upon. And now we are surprised. And on the other hand, we are not so surprised that when we go to the built-in, the find tools section inside the My ICOR app, there's where everything comes together. And here we see that 42 out of the 107 users are using Heptabase as their core application for PKM. So people could say, well, you're biased because we talk a lot about Heptabase, and that's the reason why our people are using Heptabase, and that's why it's showing up as the number one tool here. Oh, okay. Mark is saying in the chat 43 now, lol. I bit the bullet this morning. Yeah, there we go. So it will be 43. Great. And we need a lot more. We need the average, but the more people setting up their tool stacks, obviously, the more representative the data will be. But this being said, 107 people shared 247 tools in there. So tools I never heard about, and that's exactly what we were hoping for, that suddenly this database around tools is building up itself. And now when we go into Heptabase, we have on the side bar the details around how you guys are using Heptabase. And luckily, it seems people understand the basics of the ICOR framework, because we see 88 people are using Heptabase for PKM, and only 19% for BKM, business knowledge management, 5% for task management, and 2% for project management. That's what I would have expected, because using Heptabase for project management, I think that's really hard. If you're watching this or you're in the chat, let us know if you're the person who selected project management for Heptabase. Curious to discuss this. But then also we see how people connect Heptabase with other things and what you guys are using it mainly for. So again, now no surprises here. You guys are using it for deep thinking, visual thinking, inner world, shallow thinking, and journaling. Nobody is putting outer world there. So for those who don't know, I published a video about this as well, the difference between outer world and inner world. And outer world is all the things that we are bombarded with every day, like this podcast, for example, would be an outer world. And you think about, where do I store this now? And it seems not many people, or actually in this case, nobody is saving this to Heptabase, which is a good thing, because we need to make sure to secure what we place into our core PKM system. And in Paco, in my case, we are using Read Later app from Readwise in order to store the outer world information. And well, there's a whole other process we could talk about. And we see also a lot of people add there how they use it. Oh, Mark, here we go. You just appeared. Oh, you're, if it is you, actually, I don't know. There could be another Mark. Yeah, there you
Yes, he
are.
is.
And here we see,
Yeah.
this will be my main note-taking tool and knowledge management and the room for improvement web clipper extension for Safari. All right. So that's where everything is working. And why do we want to talk about this today, Paco? By the way, Paco
Well,
is
we
also in
want.
this podcast today. If you haven't,
Yeah.
if you missed him so
Yeah.
far, 6 minutes in.
Well, the thing is that just with 107 people, and we have been able to bring 247 tools. So that says it all. Imagine the thousands of different tools that busy professionals need to face to end up with the best tool stack possible for the exactly use case. And that's the thing. And that's why we cannot recommend tools and do things like that or templates or whatever, because here we see the complexity
Hmm.
of productivity. Here we see the huge and insane amount of tools that anyone needs to deal with. Just talking about productivity tools. On top of that, we got all the different tools that any company or business use that then uses, sorry. So then that's why we created ICOR. Okay. We created ICOR to define solid concepts and workflows, but we need also to bring solutions, okay, pragmatism, so that at the end people know what tools they can use, okay, based on their use and their personal preferences. And that's what the ICOR framework, that it's a tool that we have designed in the ICOR methodology. And we went one step beyond, that is creating a tool, okay, that people can interact with and see many insights. We will go through them little by little, commenting what we consider the highlights, because this is an ongoing project. And here we can see how people can better understand their tool stack, not just by following their common sense, but also by trying to understand what others have done or implemented. For me, it's important to think that the moment that one of the features that we have developed in the My iCore app is that the moment that you select a tool, you can check what others are using. All the people who selected that tool, what other tools are they using? And that
Yeah.
can
Let's show
give
this.
you some inspiration,
Yeah.
to keep going.
So
And
we can here, for
I think
example,
that.
select for deep thinking and inner world, and then we will see all the tools. And obviously, yeah, no surprises here either. Heptabase, Obsidian,
Mhm.
Tana, those are coming up, but also ChatGPT and Notebook LM, and for some reason Tools, which I thought is a reminder app. But okay, it's used for deep thinking in a world. That's where then things can be discussed if this makes sense or not. But that's the more obviously there was one person, and that's where you see once there are thousands of people using it, we have the great average of the data that makes then all the sense. And what I'm also excited about, and what you mentioned actually, is that we can, when you have your tool stack, you can select now, let's say, Todoist, and then like Amazon, you get a recommendation like people who are using Todoist are also using these tools. And now I can select, okay, I'm using Todoist. Let's filter by deep thinking. And then you see the tools that people are using with Todoist for deep thinking. And no surprise, Heptabase is showing up again, but others like as well, like Sotero and Mindserra. By the way, Mindserra is also uh, used by many people as well, and Reflect. But what's really interesting is the tools that we concluded for ourselves, Paco and me, they're on the in the top tier too. So it seems our members are coming to the same conclusion, at least if you are able to use freely the tools in your business you like. So ClickUp is the most used project management tool here too. But also, and that's something Paco and I are not using, Apple Notes. I'm just using it for
Yeah.
quick capture, but not integrate. You don't see it as a core application of my ICO framework. But many are using it, and it's curious how they are using it. They selected it as a utility app, which I have selected too. So it's like quick capture, things like that. But then people really have it also as their core application for personal knowledge management. And that's really interesting to see these things. And again, this gives us then more direction what tools we can talk more about, because you guys are obviously interested to learn more about this as well. And let's not forget the task management Todoist and Sansama. And it also seems most of you guys are actually in the Google ecosystem. This being said, obviously, it's based on 107 members, and this might change the more people share the tool stacks. But it's interesting how to see how fast this is growing. I'm really excited to see more of this in the future.
For me, one of the most important things that I can conclude by this, on this is how we've been able to connect theory with implementation. Okay, I think that that's crucial. Okay, because if you just take and isolate each of these two pillars, okay, one is the theoretical thing, and the other thing is how the heck do I make this work? And with this tool and the approach that we have done, starting with the ICOR framework, that we have to take into account that the ICOR framework is a tool that it was in just a mirror, okay? It was a static image, okay? And then people can put even manually, okay? We saw many ICOR frameworks that were filled in by people by using a pen and printed that in paper, scanned them and shared them. That was the starting point of the ICOR framework until we've developed and delivered this tool that allows people to interact and, well, give all these insights. But I think that the most important thing is this connection, because it's the way that people really understand what they need to know to understand a productivity system end to end, and also how they can make it a reality, okay? Because as we can see, there are 107 people there. I'm convinced that each of them has a specific ICOR framework, and that's important to highlight, because this shows that every single person needs a specific tool stack. And this is something that the moment that we try to force the thing, it's not our case, fortunately, but forcing people to use a specific tool in a specific way is the moment that people start suffering the friction, okay? The friction, because we don't think the exact same way. We don't see life and work the exact same way. We are not facing the same scenarios and challenges every single day. We don't like the same tools. You know, there are people who maybe love Mindzera, and there are others ones that like, I don't know, they want, or they just want to write down their thoughts on Obsidian because they can connect. There are infinite, okay, endless possibilities and combinations. And that's the beautiful thing, that just with the four main areas in the ICOR framework, we are combining all the concepts, okay, all together, okay? So you can perfectly define the purpose of each of the different tools that you are using. And for us, it wasn't easy at all. It wasn't easy to create a methodology. It wasn't easy to conclude something so simple when you look at first sight, like the ICOR framework. But this step that combines everything, taking the best out of the theoretical field and the pragmatic field, that is the implementation based on tools, is the moment that I think that busy professional will be able to implement their productivity system end to end the easiest way possible, but also the fastest, okay? Because I think that the moment that you understand, you receive all those aha moments, and we are constantly seeing those aha moments just in the first week of the Inner Circle program, for instance, that is our coaching program. But then how you can start interacting with the tool, making that journaling, because it admits to put comments, to see pros, cons, to create a quiz, okay, that you can see what your weaknesses are. Well, a lot of information that is perfectly combined in just one tool, but with a solid foundational core, okay? Because I think that many tools out there have not a foundational core that allows people to really understand what's going on, and they start interacting. And we can see that people who didn't go through the ICOR journey and start interacting with the ICOR framework, they don't really understand it, and we perceive that, okay? There's a lack of solid foundational concepts and workflows to really understand what a productivity system end-to-end is, okay? That it's a system that allows you to manage information, but also make that information useful, because that's the missing link. There are many solutions, theoretical approaches there, talking about information management, but the point is, how the heck do you make that work? but also how do you make the choose how you choose the tools, okay, the right tools. I think that that's really difficult, okay. It's difficult because there are a lot of tools, but also with a lot of features. And
And that's
and the moment that you combine that thing, it's impossible. It's literally impossible.
that's the main reason why we didn't make it for free. So we removed the free
Yeah.
tier from the membership, and we recognized already, just using the static ICOR framework, it makes no sense if people don't have the concept and the understanding of what is a PKM system, what is task management, the definitions, words that are used and overused on YouTube and all over the place frequently, but nobody explains to you how this is defined inside a productivity system end to end. And that's why we decided what you just shared. And I can actually switch the screen to show, right? There's the system check inside the My iCore app. And well, if you look at my system check, it's 81% because for demonstration, right? So obviously this would be 100% here, but that's the purpose. You have to go through the system check, which is a set of questions for those who don't see the screen right now. And in these questions, you answer like, okay, let's make an example here. Do you have a clear understanding of what types of content qualify as a node in your daily work? So what is this? So that's the definition. What is a node? Are you aware of this? If not, and we have actually three options to choose from, yes, unsure, or no, to give you the option for unsure that you haven't fully internalized this information yet. The key here with the system check is that this question is directly linked to a lesson in our courses where we perfectly explain what a node is, the concept of a node. And here on the question itself, you get some quick hints and the definition as well. But with a click of a button, you directly open the lesson inside the membership and can watch again what you have done there. And you have a notes section where you can note down the progress. So this is already helping itself. So you identify the areas that you're not perfect yet and you can keep improving. But combined with the ICOR framework and based on the tools that you have selected, and then inside the tools, the secondary categories of the tools like deep thinking, inner world, and so on, and quick capture, things like that, it will provide you recommendations for learning. It understands, the My iCore app understands that you're using a set of tools for specific use cases. You have a lack of understanding in a specific concept, and then it shows you a recommendation based on this in your dashboard. So here you see now, for example, jot things down is something that I have selected in the quiz as negative. And you see it's used in three tools that I have on my ICOR framework, Reader, Heptabase, and Tana. And if I click on it, it opens up your system check and it scrolls to the question and it gives you directly the impact. And with a click of a button, you open up the relevant lesson and now you can dive in to double check, or maybe you already got it, right? But here now you get the details, the magic slide, the workflow itself that is related to this to really keep track of. And that's where we thought this is the next step of courses where you have a real interactive, highly personalized solution here where it goes beyond just checking off the progress of your courses and haven't understood anything. Here you can really keep track of the things that you're lacking and then double down on the areas that you can improve. And another thing I just want to mention, you can add all the pricing to your tools. Something that many people struggle with is keeping track of all the subscriptions they have doing. And I just see here when I remove the testing thing, it's $379 I'm spending, or the paperless movement is spending, on the tools that I'm using in my productivity tool stack. And yearly, this is $4,550. And I have a breakdown of, I have a breakdown no longer because I'm aware of what I'm using, but we know that many are using all the tools that have no clue why they're using it. They keep the subscription running, and then we keep hearing, oh, not another subscription, and I'm not paying for another subscription. Well, the reason is that you're not aware of what subscription you are running and why you're using the tools. to perfectly justify why you're paying this subscription, because it's really cheap, these tools, if you compare it to the time that you save once you use the tools properly. And here I see the distribution in our case is perfect. The core applications cost the biggest chunk of these monthly subscriptions, and it makes total sense. And then I enhance my tool stack with the satellite apps and utility apps, and and this gives me the breakdown here too. And also, as you can see here, the tools
I
usage. Yeah,
think
sorry.
there it's that understanding of your tool stack. It's the consolidation of the concepts, okay? Because many people, what is a core app? What is a salad
Yeah.
lab? What's a utility app? There, you start seeing, the link with money, okay? Also, I love the how we differentiate by core category. I think that that's amazing. I mean, personal knowledge, personal projects. We are seeing there the different world. Task management, product management. If I consider that I'm a busy professional that shouldn't be so into the world of PKM, for instance, let's say that if we see there that I'm spending much more money on personal knowledge management, and I consider that that's not what I should be working on, here we got that realization that we are not aware of. Plus, what I see here is the connection between theory and implementation. I think that that's crucial. Okay, that's crucial because that's the sweet spot. Okay, if you lack any of those two pillars, you are missing the point. Okay, but here we are reinforcing all the concepts with all the tools, with the money that we are spending on them, and we can see that the database model that we have behind this my ICOR app is really well thought to make all the connections so that it delivers insights, okay? Insights about connection between theory and implementation, connection between the money, connection between the 4 areas of the ICOR framework. There are a lot of insights because I'm surprised the moment because you only take the quiz, okay? But then you start, positioning the different tools and you forget, okay, about the rest. You don't need to think further, and that's important, okay, that all these insights is not a matter of dedicating time to think or investing time to conclude the things, okay, just by positioning the tools on the ICOR framework plus uh, completing and going through the quiz, we got everything, okay. That system check every single question. I think that there were 70 something, Tom, I cannot remember I think it
It's
were 79 or something like that.
59 questions. So
59,
this
okay,
means that
59.
represents actually our concepts and workflows in ICOR. We have
Correct.
59. I mean, part of it is also tool stack questions. So let's say 55. But these are the
Mm-hmm.
concepts and workflows that we directly approach inside our ICOR journey and answer all of them going through the different courses. And people think this is a lot. Man, if you think about the complexity of productivity in a business, it's a joke. We broke it down to really the minimalistic understanding that you need to have to really improve holistically a productivity system, personal and business wise, completely. And there's a
Yeah,
lot
but
of covering here, right?
yes, because just think that if you reply yes, okay, to just 59
Yeah,
questions, you can be 100% sure that you know how to implement a productivity system
yeah,
end to end. You are able to manage not only all your work, but your life with the perfect tool stack without any problem. Because here you can start seeing the gaps, okay? Because when you mark unsure, we have created different views, okay, based on needs attention, it's unsure.
yeah,
You said no, okay, because that gives you immediate information and reply to your weaknesses, okay? The points that you want to and need to double down to really move forward, okay? This guarantees that you are going through the ICOR journey, okay? The ICOR journey is a sequential journey of 5 different courses that we make sequential based on educational purpose, okay, knowledge purpose. It's sequential because it's the only way that we can teach the people all the concepts and workflows, but in reality everything is merged, okay, and that's where the difficulty starts, okay? Because the moment that you have many different things that overlaps, that are linked one to another, people get lost, okay? Get lost. They understand the ICOR journey, but the moment that they need to, okay, put
Implement
things
it.
into work, it was the gap that we detected, okay? We started with not the ICOR journey, just a whole course that told the people how to implement a productivity system end to end. Then we decided that we needed to create something sequential. Okay, that's why we created the ICOR journey. And then we saw the people suffering to implement in tools the concepts and workflows. Okay, because there are a lot of overlapping, and the moment that we have layers and layers and layers of knowledge, people get lost. Obviously, but here just following your own common sense, okay, with no a deep understanding of the things, you can conclude the things. You can detect the weaknesses that you have talking about knowledge and how to find out a solution. And also, it's not the insights that you receive by going through the system check, but also the moment that you start seeing, okay, parallelism between your tool stack and some of other busy professionals, that you start asking yourself the right questions. And I think that that's one of the main things talking about problem solving. The moment that you start asking yourself the right questions, you're going to force yourself to find out the answers. Okay. And by finding the answers, okay, because that's what we wanted also to create. It was a network of busy professionals who want to be more productive without suffering. Okay. And the moment that we are able to share our knowledge, our ICOR framework, where we can see the ICOR frameworks of others, okay, and we can interact and see how others have figured out a solution. I think that this is, for me, it's impressive. It's not because we have delivered this thing, but it's because this is, I would say, the top of the mountain. Okay, when we started working together, Tom and myself, that was the ultimate goal that we were pursuing, because we know that people and busy professionals are pragmatic. They want to know the tools that they need to use to be more productive and how to use them. And this is something that is not trivial. Okay, this is really difficult to, no matter the industry, the profile, the type of busy professional, being able to deliver something that all kind of busy professional can really move forward, okay, guaranteeing that they will implement the productivity system end to end with the best tools for the specific use case. I think that this is the answer,
I,
okay, and the cherry on top.
I think it's important to also mention before we end the session today that these buzzwords that you hear all over the world, but it's not buzzwords, they're common words actually that nobody tells you how they are defined, like routines, okay? You go to YouTube and you learn a video about they telling you you have to have routines. And the thing is, the connection to the rest of your productivity system is always missing. And that's what the tool here is giving you. So if I go to these questions again and I search for routine, I get now a dedicated question around: have you established consistent daily and weekly routines that run automatically without daily decisions? Obviously, I get the information about routines. However, by going into routines, it's directly explaining to you as well how this also ensures, for example, that you keep your PKM inbox zero and your email management inbox zero. So, because everything is there and now it's possible to interconnect the things, so you get really a comprehensive understanding how your productivity system works end to end, and not just a quick fix again that, okay, you have to have daily routines, otherwise it's not working. Yeah, great. But then that's where people try to implement these things and then they don't follow up on this because it's friction. It's they think it needs to have discipline, something that we don't believe in. In fact, it's actually the
Yeah.
routines that keep things running without the discipline and willpower and things like that. The reason why people are saying this is because they are trying to force to implement something that is just a small part of a bigger picture. It's like, yeah, they're looking at a mosaic and they just look at a one stone of it, and don't see the full picture. And that's what we're delivering with ICOR and with this My ICOR application. We give you the tool to get even a better understanding how everything is interconnected. Everybody, we hope this worked pretty well with the sharing and so on. And let us know if you like this new approach as well. And we are happy to catch you guys up next week with another session about what? Guess what? About productivity for busy professionals.
Yeah. See you guys.
Everybody, see you
Thank
guys.
you.
They're still writing, so I was just didn't want to end. But
Okay. Yes, because that's one of the beautiful things. Okay, we are always interacting inside the membership, in the podcast. Well, all over the place, all over the place, and that's how we all grow. Okay,
that's the point.
even the two of us, because this is the consequence. Okay, of distilling all the feedback that we have received, studying the thousands of people that we have helped improve how they work, and seeing and detecting the different gaps, okay? Because this is at the end always nuances, okay? Subtleties that compounded creates failure, okay? And I think that that's the thing that we need to avoid, okay? It's being able to detect all those nuances, put them into something that makes sense for the people, and that it's easy to interiorize because you don't need to dedicate a lot of time to really understand and implement all these things.
Exactly. All right, everybody. We catch
Okay.
you up next week then. Have a good time.
Okay.
Bye
See you
bye.
guys. Thank you so much. Bye.